Hi, Youth Worker Nation. This is Doug with Youth Worker on Fire. Today, I have my good friend Tim Hancock. And Tim is going to, well, Tim has no idea what he's going to say today.
Good friend. That's good. There you go.
He has no idea what he's going to say today, but he's going to say some stuff. Tim, here's where we're going to start. Give me the number one influence that just pops into your head, other than your parents, middle school, high school, or college. Out of all that, who is that one person that just stands out? Tell us about it.
Oh gosh, usually coach. You know, being in the sports.
Who was it? Which one? Which
gosh,
one?
There's so many coaches.
Oh, come on, get specific.
The first one going back would probably be my dad as a coach.
Yeah. What did he coach you in?
It was actually youth football.
Mm.
And so
elementary school there?
Yeah, actually elementary, and coach left. Just guys that I could tell they cared about you. They actually got in there, and they weren't just telling us what to do. They were actually doing it with us. And so they led by action and not by just telling us what to do.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge.
Yeah. Well, listen, you notice in our background here, we got some stuff. We got a football. You might know where that's leading. We got a soccer ball, and we got a track hurdle. and so we're going to talk about those things. You started off with football with your dad. Mm-hmm. When did you start the soccer thing?
Actually, started the soccer thing and actually played a little bit in elementary school.
Okay.
You know, it was pretty much everybody was, nobody had a clue. But actually went until ninth grade. Ninth grade was kind of introduced back into Central Florida at that time. It hit when I was in ninth grade. Mm-hmm. And so things I learned on the football field, and didn't make the basketball team, probably too short, too whatever. And soccer came out, and soccer became a tremendous love for me.
Who was your soccer coach your freshman year?
Gosh, my soccer coach my freshman year.
That part of the brain's gone. Okay, wow. I get that.
Very influential in my life. Don't remember.
Who was your last coach in high school?
Last coach in high school
for soccer
was probably Coach Hartman.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Was he a soccer guy? I mean, he played soccer before?
Actually, the coach actually in high school was more of a woods coach. It's kind of like, you be the soccer coach. Okay. And we pretty much got kind of a self-taught team.
Oh, more like John, you said woods coach.
Yeah, woods coach. He was a woods teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
so all we learned is how to cut down people. Chop them up.
Now I got it. Now we're clear.
Yeah.
You had to cut down people. So some of these guys, man, you had some very good coaches, but you obviously had some very difficult coaches, which we all have, right? Mm-hmm. We have some. You got to have good. You got to have bad. And if you survive it all, they do what you did. And where did you end up playing in college?
Actually, at the University of Central Florida. Mm-hmm. Played there for Coach Rudy.
Yeah, Coach Rudy. And you were scholarshiped out there. Wasn't
I was just, actually at that time, just a preferred walk-on, but
okay.
Able to accomplish some great things, great teams, great teammates.
What's some of the highlights in college, UCF?
Some of the highlights: conference champions, first team, all-conference team.
Yeah. So what position did you play?
I was a defender.
Okay, were you? Okay.
Defender. Oh, handball.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you can hold it. You can hold it.
Defender.
Defender. Okay. And tell me what that was like.
I loved it. I was able to. My job was actually to take people and put them in the fifth row. Just take them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your old football days came back to
you
the
come
soccer
toward
field.
my goal.
Yeah.
My job is just to take you out, take the ball and take you out. That's just simple.
That's the Tim I think I know. It's all hidden down. Youth Worker Nation. You come see Tim, you think, oh, he's just a gentle giant. Oh,
it was reckless and abandoned.
He's got some fire in him.
It was reckless and abandonment.
Yeah.
Actually, my nickname in college was probably Sick Man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Do whatever it takes to get it done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
I'm not sure if that's a good highlight or not.
Yeah, but you were, and I always call you Iron Man. Mm-hmm. I call you Iron Man. Tim calls me Tin Man, and someday I'll be Steel Man. But anyway, we got to work my way up. Ironman because he was in the Ironman in Hawaii. So tell us, how many years between college and the Ironman?
Actually, when I graduated a long time ago, back in '81, and I wanted more. And I'd seen the Ironman triathlon on television, noted as the world's most enduring sport. And so I said, hey, I want to go after the biggest challenge that I could in sports realm. And to me, it was the Ironman, 2.4 mile ocean swim, 112 miles of biking, followed by a 26.2 mile marathon run.
And you're one of the ones that did not get eaten by the sharks.
That's right.
That was
that's
good.
Right. I swim with slower people. They get eaten and you move on.
That's right. That's it. That's it. So what was it like? How did you prepare for that?
You know, it was one of those things. I just figured I could. I biked to school, so I figured I could bike.
So did you prepare a lot?
I did. It
You
was
did?
one of those things.
Yeah.
It was biting off more than you can chew. But when you have a goal to go for, you get over those hurdles real quick. I wasn't a swimmer by any means, and so pretty much had to teach myself how to swim. So it really wasn't in a pool because I could get to the other side and you know, get to the other side, you can quit. But if you teach yourself how to swim in a lake, you get in the middle of the lake and it's either you're going down or you got to get yourself to the other side. So you learn real quickly that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've known some guys out here that they'll actually wear a little flag because they've almost been hit by boats while they're swimming the lake.
Nice.
That's a real motivation to go
think
faster,
about that. Yeah.
dive deeper, something. But so preparing for it was quite an endurance thing. Did you ever hit any walls?
Oh, hit walls all the time. You know, your body doesn't want to train at that type of magnitude. So, but it's a mental thing. And so you just got to get out and do little things each day, regardless if you want to or not. You have your goal in mind, and to accomplish it, you know, you have to do some swimming, some biking, and some running. And so it was, you know, kind of a lifestyle where I was working and training, work and train.
So not much time in between.
No.
Not much time off. And how long did it take you to train for it, or how long did you train for it?
Actually, I trained 6 months solid.
Yeah.
You know, it was my goal, and want to get to the World Championship in Hawaii, and so.
What's the difference between you trained in Florida, whole different world.
It is.
Now, tell me what kind of shocks you went through when you ended up doing the Ironman in Hawaii.
You know, swimming in the ocean. You know,
What was your initial effect when you dove in? Let's just start feeling the current.
You know, when you get that many people swimming, you got 1,000 plus swimming. It's trying to find your own space so you don't get kicked and you know, get disoriented and drink a lot of salt water. But it's just overcoming the swim part.
Yeah.
And then you get to the bike and overcoming the mountains and the wind and so forth. And then the run is just endurance. Just get out
Through the mountains?
there.
Wow. So you had some hills.
We did.
Life is about hills, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, those were more or less mountains.
There what?
Yeah, there were mountains there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. So different from Florida, you trained for that and you got through it. And what I think about Ironman, I'm not an Ironman. I have no intentions of being an Ironman. Steel maybe, but not iron. So, but there's great endurance in what we've talked about your life and what I know about you from all these years. And that's what I want people to understand and know about you. You have a lot to offer here that they need to know. Part of it's your personality. You've got this personality. Will Smith, the actor, said, I am not the best actor in the world, but if you put me on a treadmill beside you, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to quit or I'm going to die.
Exactly.
Because I will not quit.
Exactly.
And that's how I see you.
Yeah.
You are absolute competitor, aren't you? And you cannot lose. You can't.
I do not like to lose, no.
No. And you'll find a way to win another way if you don't. You're the guy that took him out. First time I met Tim, I hadn't met him yet, actually. I heard about this guy who was going to run 55 miles from, I think it's 55 from Winter Park to New Smyrna Beach. Is that right?
True. Wow.
And I thought, I got to meet this guy. I thought I was crazy. He is insane. And found out he was. But but anyway, tell us about that run. You had some things happen, though, before that run. And it was to help guys from Fellowship of Christian Athletes to go to camp. He was raising money. And tell us two things. How did that raise money? Because what people in Youth Worker Nation want to know is, how do we get money, man? We got all these things we got to do. We're always having to fundraise, you know.
True.
And so the second thing is, what happened to you that you thought, I'm not going to be able to run?
Gotcha.
So tell me those stories.
You know, when I did the Ironman, I knew I had, endurance. It wasn't about, for me, it wasn't about being the quickest out there, but just enduring and going after your goals and dreams. And so when I was a part of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, I wanted to find some way to raise up money to send as many coaches and athletes to camp. Something I had a chance to experience, and like, man, this is, it's a life changer. And so I realized one thing I could do is doing something in my realm in sports and do something endurance. And I'd always heard about different long distance running, and so I go, hey, let me put together a distance run, and people, could pay me per mile. And so the way we mapped it out from Central Florida over to the coast was going to be about a 55-mile. I wanted something that was going to be twice. I want to be twice of a marathon, so 2 marathons plus. And so I put that together. Like anything else, you put a plan together and you go, oh my goodness, this is more than I can really. And I didn't give myself proper time to train, but it was one of those things we wanted to get done because I wanted to find a way to raise money.
Yeah.
And so
people thought what I thought. This guy's crazy. We got to support him.
Hey man, we'll put money toward him to see if he dies on the side of the road.
That's right.
And so really I put together a good team, a good travel team that would be with me. And it was one of those things that I trained and trained and trained. I didn't really train that long. It was like a 6-week crunch time. I mean, it's not what I do not do this at home.
And that's almost an ultra marathon. I studied ultra marathons a few years ago. Had no idea they existed. And then, at the meeting, because we're in the same company together, he talked about ultra marathon during our leadership training. And never heard anybody else talk about it in those things. But that was basically about a half ultra marathon, because I think an ultra marathon is like 100 miles. It's a 6-day race. And you did 55 miles in how many hours?
It took me a little over 10 hours.
What happened before that? What happened to your ankle?
Actually, a week before, I was kind of dwindling down as far as my training run to get prepared for it. And I was only about a half mile away from home, and I was coming over the curb, and I misstepped. My left leg hit that curb and went down, and the ankle kind of kissed the ground. And the time I got home, that thing blew up about the size, actually about the size of a grapefruit. Yeah. And it was huge. And it was one of those things that I can go, all right, this is either telling me I shouldn't, or it's just it's one of the battles of, am I going to let this hamper me and keep me from raising money to send as athletes and coaches at camp, or is my faith going to sustain me to believe that my God is bigger than my problem? And so I realized that, I had to overcome. And so I did what it took to try to, to ice it and so forth to get it down. But the time of my race, we started at 1 o'clock in the morning, being in Florida, the heat.
Yeah.
And so.
What time of year was it?
It was May 5th. And it was hot.
It's hot.
So we're trying to escape it by running in the middle of the night.
Right.
And so actually by that race, I never had any problems with my ankle at all. Never any thought.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was just
That's
one of those things.
Such a God thing, yeah.
And so I had to overcome.
Yeah. And that's the story of your life, because I've known you for a lot of years now. We were both 3 when we met, 3 years of age. And so there's a few decades have gone by. Yeah. We're almost, 35 now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. So and I've seen this pattern in your life that's a part of that personality. And Youth Worker Nation, here's a couple of things. Number one, I don't have that personality. But what you will want to do is you will want to surround yourself with people like Tim who have this personality. If you don't have the drive to complete and your desires, the things that you start doing, that's okay. But what you need is you need people that are finishers like Tim. He's going to finish no matter what. And throughout the ministry I had, throughout working with those volunteers I worked with all these years, I had some guys that were far beyond my leadership level, but they understood the purpose. So Tim, you've got 2 sons. What about your purpose in life?
You know, your purpose always becomes stronger.
And a beautiful wife.
When you realize what you have.
Mm-hmm.
I think of anything that I've accomplished that's been of accomplishment. It's all done by surrounding myself with great people,
Mm-hmm.
from soccer, football, coaching, working with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes,
Mm-hmm.
at Advocare or whatever it might be. You're only as good with the team that you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you being a great youth leader is you surround yourself with great youth leader helpers.
Yeah, had to survive.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for me, actually, I get a chance to learn a lot of stuff that I learned when I was with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes as far as coaching ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Really how to coach and reach kids' hearts.
Mm-hmm.
You reach a kid's heart, and they'll do whatever you need. And so I got a chance to put a lot of that into practice with my 2 sons, Luke and Zack.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so tell me about Luke. How did he end up in football, and where did he go with it?
Actually, Luke got
He's the
started.
oldest.
He's the oldest. Luke is 20. I'll be 21 in December. Got a chance to coach him in his 7th and 8th grade year, and that was awesome. Then he went on to play high school ball, and had a desire for more, and so he had a chance to, from high school, to go on and play at Methodist University, and so he got to play a little football there. Got a chance to see what he really wanted in life, and actually made a decision to come back to go to a local college, working, and get into coaching football himself.
Where's he coaching now?
He's coaching at Windermere Prep.
Yeah?
Yep, so he's a middle school coach, but he loves it. He gets a chance to, he's a coach at heart. He loves the X's and O's. He was one of those players that learned quickly and knew positions for everybody. And so I think he has a lot to offer and when it comes to coaching.
Well, tell me about, let's talk about Zack then.
Right, Zack.
Luke, we got the football thing down. Great, both your boys are just incredible. And tell me about Luke and his track.
Or Zack.
Excuse me, Zack.
Zack was just a all-around great athlete. In school he played anything from soccer to track to volleyball to whatever it was they offered, and so he played that. When he got into high school, played football and track, and realized that track was his love. And so his first year, he went off to college to run track, and I hooked him up with a good friend of mine that really understood track and trained him, and really has got him out right now to finish up to get his AA at a JUCO college in Texas.
Oh, wow.
South Plains has won 10 national championships in a row in track and field. They're really the who's who, almost like the Alabama of football when it comes to track and field.
Yeah.
And so he's out there, finish up this year, get his grades, and set himself up to wherever he wants to go as far as being a decathlete.
Yeah, so he will just about have his choice after being at this particular.
Hope so.
Yeah. And sharp, tall.
Yep, he's
tall young man.
6'5", about 210.
Yeah.
He's got the ability to run on the track as well as the different 10 different events they have as being a decathlete.
And I didn't know anything about that. I mean, that's great. I'm glad. This is why I'm interviewing you, so I can find out the stuff that you're not telling me. Right. And tell me about him going to track, though. There was some influences there because he played football before. What was it about track? Was there a coach? Was there someone that just kind of clicked with him?
He really found a love. Like anything else, he kind of found hurdles and didn't know that was going to be his specialty. Like
Never
anything
special
else.
hurdle back here,
Yeah.
by the way.
Like anything
Thank
else,
you, Gabby.
life is full of hurdles.
Yeah.
And so the first time I tried, I'm like, ooh, I'm not hey, this isn't for me. But it's like anything else, you got to get over and over and over, literally, and realize he was a good hurdler. And I really saw what he was capable of accomplishing. I just didn't have the ability to coach him to where he needs to go. And so I found the right coaches. Found coaches that really knew what they were looking for, what it took to go to the next level. And it was really finding somebody that believed in Zack to help him go after the ultimate himself.
Hey, Youth Worker Nation, listen. Some of your dads, some of you coaching your sons, moms coaching your daughters, different things like that. There's a point that if you're not capable, you need to pass the baton. Yeah. And that sometimes that doesn't happen, and people extend themselves longer than they should, and they actually keep their children from being there. Tim is the ultimate performer. He's going to win. And so his thing was, he understood that to win, he's got to find that next level coach.
Yeah, I mean, I knew what Zack had the ability to accomplish, but I knew I couldn't get him to where he needs to be. And I needed to put him along with the right coaches that saw it, to help develop it, to bring it out. And it's also because of them that makes the connections. And it's really not what you know sometimes, it's who you know that can make the connections to where he leads in life. And so that's huge.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Huge, so.
Yeah, and and you're training your children through that. I mean, the bottom line is, you don't just try to do things yourself. You don't try to. You got to have help getting to the goals that you want to get to, and it is about learning to research and go outside your comfort zone and go, who do I need to be with? Who do I need to get to help me? And stop. And pride will keep us from doing a lot of those things.
True.
It'll keep us from being who we really need to be. How many years were you with Fellowship of Christian Athletes?
I was with them as a volunteer and an employee for about 26 years.
Yeah, and I knew you most of that time. Tell me about how you met Debbie, your wife, and the transition, over the years from knowing her, I think, as a friend to marriage.
Yep, actually met her through the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We were huddle leaders together, or counselors together. Met her, and it was just over time, seeing her again at a camp, and it was just one of those things. I kind of threw the ball and said, "Ball's in your court. If this thing's going to go any farther, just that." Maybe that male ego, and just one thing led to another, and we got married, and she still, I'm not sure if she still puts up with me. Yeah, she still puts up with me today.
Yes, she does. I've seen that.
The neat thing is that we have, we're different personalities, and I think sometimes it takes different personalities to come together.
Well, both of you are competitors. Debbie's a competitor too, and she likes to be behind the scenes, but she does bring the best out in you, because that's what our wives do. When we learn that about our spouses, and that's a big thing, especially in the coaching realm. Lots of divorce in the coaching realm, lots of, when you do anything that's over and above, even in student ministry, you'll find some of those things happening, because instead of embracing your spouse, if you're married, we tend to, because of those conflicts and because of those differences in personalities, many times we'll alienate. And we see great coaches over the years, like we'll cover both these arenas. Steve Spurrier and Bobby Bowden, we'll cover the arenas there. And Saban, bottom line is, these guys stayed married. They're at the top of the heap. And it's a miracle, or a lot of hard work, to maintain a great marriage relationship. And part of that is embracing who they are.
True. Wow.
So tell me this now. You transitioned, and you helped me out in so many things. And I tell people, you volunteered for me and I volunteered for you a lot in those things. And it is about helping. It's not about which group you're with, which school you're with.
True.
which church you're with. It's about what purpose you're with.
Yep.
And when you learn that it's about the purpose and about the final goal, then you embrace a lot of different people to do exactly what he did with Luke and Zack, finding those right people to take over when he's taken them as far as he can go. So tell me about transitioning into business. And part of that, I think we talked about your dad. And I was at your dad's funeral. I remember when that happened, and you had transitioned to, I mean, ministry's hard financially.
Yes.
And so you went into business, and that compensated for some of that as well. And I think a lot of us do that. I'd invested in some things, and some of those things went belly up, and some I got a little out of, you know, in time. But dads are always concerned for us. And I don't know if you remember that, but you talked about your dad was so happy when you got that extra business going while you're in Fellowship of Christian Athletes, because the financial burden was so hard. Tell me about your dad and about that.
You know, Dad was always supportive. He always wanted, you know, your dad, you know, as a dad, you want the best for your kids. And so, you know, he loved what I was doing in the ministry, but like any father, you want your kids to be successful, being able to financially take care of their family and not being a burden. You know, yeah, he loved what we're doing. I'm part of a lot of things that I did in the ministry, but you know, when you keep going in debt and you're not living, you're trying to live paycheck to paycheck, and your nose is just right there above the water, and actually most of the time it's kind of below the water. Yeah, he was happy when I was able to find something that was able to supplement my income.
And Tim helped me to see that with the particular business that we're in. And but there's a guy by the name of Eric Worre. You need to look up GoPro with Eric Worre, because he covers all of this. You need to listen to Dave Ramsey on the financial end of things, because both these guys are going to tell you that it's not about just one set of eggs in one basket. It's about multiple baskets and multiple eggs in order to survive in this world. There's no one thing that is enough, because any one thing can go south, can go belly up. Both of those things happen to us in ministry. And for those of you, the pain of teaching, of coaching, of ministry is what we're about talking about as much as anything else, to help some of you guys avoid some of that, or when you go through it, and you will, how to face those pains and not be bitter, not be angry, but to say, okay, well, there's a transition here. So tell me, I know your dad was happy about that transition, so tell me about the transition into the company, you know, where you're wearing the logo now, so let's talk about that.
Actually, I was introduced to Avocare through the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It actually was a national sponsor with FCA at the national office. Didn't know what it was about. Avocare, we build champions. Oh, cool logo. Didn't really know exactly what it was till we were introduced a little bit more, you know, to find out exactly what it was. It's really it's a health company, and you know, the first guiding principle was honor God through faith, family, and friends. Wow. And it took somebody to sit down, like anything great, just like the gospel, it takes somebody to really sit down with you. You can hear it, but until somebody sat down with me to help me understand it, go through, and I'm like, wow, why haven't I seen this before? It took somebody to walk me through to help me see it, and I'm going, this is awesome. I mean, it was a product line that was safe, trusted in our Olympic athletes, NFL, Major League Soccer, NASCAR, you name it. And I said, well, I'm in the sports industry. This is a no-brainer. And so I knew that every athlete, every coach is looking for something out there, but most of the stuff that's out there is junk. I know. I took a lot of stuff trying to find the edge. Right. And most of the stuff I got even over the counter was illegal, even though I got it over the counter. So
one of our Gator football players lost his scholarship, lost his ability to play for a year. Because he took something from a store, very well-known store, very good reputation of a store, and it had something in there that knocked him out. Knocked him out because they tested him and found something. And so it's very difficult. Coaches, in fact, don't even like to talk about supplements at all.
Actually, when I get with coaches, they're like, hey, I don't want to know what my athletes are taking. I do want to know, but I don't even know where to point them to. And so it's just like anything else, just helping coaches, athletes, and parents, educating them, helping them understand the value that a trusted product, and they test for over 200 of the banned substance. So I go, this is really, for me, was ministry, because you're finding something to get into people's worlds, whether believers or not believers. It was a tool that got me in there. And so it was something that they were all interested in knowing more about. And like anything else, you build relationships. It's not about selling. It's about sharing. I mean, with the FCA, nobody go, hey, you're going to go out and sell the gospel today? No, going to go out and share. And so really for me, it was about sharing, building relationships, helping people to see the value of what products that help them on and off the field, but also good products that help them with their health goals. And then the other thing was the opportunity and the financial part. And so I just knew it was something that would be beneficial not only for our family, but would be beneficial by sharing it with other people.
Yeah, and that's what you need. Relationships, integrity is the biggest thing. Number one, I would not have entered into any venture because I've been burned so many times. If it wasn't for Tim, I'd known him. I knew he would not be a part of something, and everything he gave me worked. Now, here's the deal. Eric worries about all kinds of businesses. It's not about one particular one. We believe in ours, but if you're a coach, teacher, there's things that you can do. You say, I haven't got the time. Well, that's not true. You haven't got the time to do something to secure your family's future. You've got the time. You'll figure it out. You figure it out for other things. And I kept saying that too. I didn't have the time, and now we're playing catch up. Here at the end, we're playing catch up with all those things. Here's one thing I found out, that one of the guys that became so successful in, I don't even know what business it was, but at a young age, when his child was a teenager, he told his son, he said, everyone that you ever meet, write their name down, stay in touch with them in some way, whether they're your friends, whether they're your enemies, find some creative way to always be in their life. And don't ever think about sales. Don't ever think about, am I going to have them in a company or anything like that, but make true friends out of them. And this guy, I don't even remember his name, they said that he ended up having over 12,000 people on his list by the end of his life, and that every one of those 12,000 people were people that felt like that they were personal friends of this guy. And so whatever we do in life, it's more about, are we building a relationship? Are we taking care of people where they are?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly. You find a way to add value to people's lives, and it's relationships. And so I look at my past, it kind of built me up to where I am now and where we're going. It's just, you're trying to find something that you have to add value to somebody's life that can be the domino effect.
Yeah. Well, Tim, what final thoughts? Tell us about volunteers, though, and then tell us, let's talk about volunteers first. How hard was it for you to find the right volunteers? Because you were in public schools and private schools, and you would have to find that volunteer that would run an entire program for you.
Exactly.
Tim was in charge of 3 counties. I had like 8 schools in this area, and I thought I was going to blow my mind half the time, and he had schools in 8 counties, secondary schools, probably went into some college stuff as well. Now, we did that. Mike Matuli, and Mike's on, by the way, his episode's on already.
Good.
And AD director at Lake Sumter State. But how did you, number one, handle 3 counties? And I know it was difficult. And tell me how you found those volunteers, the right volunteers.
I think like anything else, when you're when you find the right people, is finding what they're passionate about. And so ministry is just finding the right people that are passionate about using the FCA or whatever tool it is or whatever ministry is. For us, it was finding a coach on campus, or sometimes it might not have been a coach. It had been whoever had passion to reach out to their students or to the athletes. And then as well, we did that same thing with coaches. Find a coach that's coachable, teachable, willingness to make a difference and learn how to coach in a godly way, to really make a lasting impact. Every coach out there or every youth leader is going to make an impact, whether it's good or bad. It's going to leave an impact. And so we're just trying to find a way to coach those that were willing to embrace what we wanted to do.
Which was still an Ironman deal. That's why I call him Ironman, because you've come up to that Ironman level. People can't handle 3 counties. People can't handle that many schools, that many volunteers. But you are consistently coming to this county, and then I knew you were in the next county, and you were in the next school, and it was just a wheel of motion that did not end for 26 years.
Exactly.
And so how do you endure 26 years? I know it was tough at the end. It's tough at the end of my ministry. We're still in ministry to a large degree, but mostly on a volunteer levels for both of us now. But tell me, how do you endure that as because this affects coaches, it affects teachers, it affects parents, and how they endure things, as well as those people in Fellowship of Christian Athletes, other organizations like that, as well as churches. So how do you endure this?
Well,
Year after year?
It's a volunteer army. And volunteer army will change year after year. And you just, those that are there, you work with those and help them rise violent. Then there's other times you're trying to find somebody new and raise them up. But you can't make them do anything they don't want to do. You just got to find a way to push, pull, find out what they are, actually what their talent and their gifts are, and help them rise to the occasion. You know, every coach is different, has different personalities, different temperament, introvert, extrovert, whatever. But you use them as a tool to help them accomplish what they want to accomplish, whether it's on the field. A lot of it is off the field.
But Tim, this is 26 years. How do you do that for 26 years? That's what they want to know.
Surround yourself with great people. Surround yourself with people that you want to go in and do battle with. All right. I mean, it's one reason
you heard that word, battle.
Yes,
That's the
it's
word.
A battle. I look at it this way. Doug and I, we locked arms, and I knew I could always count on Doug. He was the go-to guy. He was the pillar in this area, and I knew he had connections through the different schools. So it was vital for me to lock arms with you, helping you with your ministry with the church, reach out to those campuses, but also open the doors for me as well to reach them on campus. If they're not going to the church, we got to reach them where they are to get them to where they need to be. So I've just found the right people to lock arms with. And when I locked arms with them, helping you go after your goals and your purpose with what you want to accomplish in ministry. And along the way, I did that as well.
You know, we locked arms, that's right. And he may be giving me credit for some of those things, but when he had come to town, and this is for you guys who are working as volunteers or full-time, use the people that are doing great work. And Tim knew people I didn't know in the very schools I was working with. So when he would come to town, I would drop everything and say, Tim, is it okay if I go with you today? And almost every time he said, yeah. And because there wasn't many others asking, was there, Tim? No. And I knew this.
You'd open doors that I couldn't open. I'd open doors that maybe you couldn't open, and together it was a way to reach a campus.
Synergy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. Synergy is what it's all about. Anytime you get teamwork going. If there's anything you could tell people about ministry or about working in business, what is in fact, I'm going to go back. What was the hardest moment? What was the worst battle that you had to face within that 26 years? As far as I just want to give up. I'm not talking about those last 3 or 4 years, but all that other, when you're really going strong, when you're going strong, you hit walls, right?
Absolutely.
Just like the Ironman. So tell me more about one of those worst walls that you hit.
I think some of the worst walls are that you feel like you're not adding value, that you're your purpose is not strong, it's not making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we see it from our own eyes. We don't really know what's going on behind. And so a lot of times we get defeated in our own mind frame. And so I think the biggest thing that, whether it's ministry or business, whatever, is protecting the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And, for me, it's, Satan wants to do everything he can to derail you from ministry, derail you from your family, business, whatever it might be. And it's really protecting your mind, It's putting the right stuff in. For me, it's the quiet time,
Mm-hmm.
Trying to focus on and make sure that my focus is in the right direction, and not off on other things. And so when my focus is on Christ and the things I need to do, everything else falls into place. When my focus gets off of that onto what I want to accomplish and what I need to do, my plans, me, then it becomes very tough.
So did you ever want to just throw in the towel in the middle of that?
All the time.
Yeah.
It's a natural battle.
Yes.
I mean, if it's not, then it's not a battle. If you're accomplishing anything great in your own strength, then it's nothing great. You want to accomplish something great, you have to be stretched far greater than you are, and it takes a greater faith on that. So, most people won't stretch themselves.
Mm.
But you want to accomplish something great, sometimes it takes other people to believe in you for you to believe in yourself, to believe what you can accomplish. And so it really is protecting the mind. I mean, it's a battlefield there.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's ministry or sports, there's times when I did the Ironman, oh my goodness, things happen. I'm drinking a lot of water. Oh, can I get through the swim? Get through the bike part, I had problems on my bike. Oh, am I going to quit? Get through the run. This is long. This is hard. Do you quit? No, you got to take a breath and just keep moving on, one step at a time. In ministry, is it hard? Yeah, because you're dealing with people. The great part about ministry is you deal with people. The worst part about ministry is what? You deal with people. Business is the same way. Mm-hmm. You always hit walls. Mm-hmm. And so those walls could be obstacles to make you stronger, to get over. Some doors I come to, if God doesn't open up, then they're not meant for me to go through. Just got to find the doors that He opens up for me to go through. And so it's a battle each day. So.
It is, and even after that, it doesn't matter what area you're in. So you did that for 26 years. You had battles there. Now you're in business. You have battles here.
Exactly.
And it's a battle of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I get from Tim every day, he is so consistent, has been for years, but I get a quote from him. Most of them he makes up himself every day. You can go on his Facebook, Tim Hancock, Facebook, and I don't know what else you got out there, but get on his text list if you want to, or if he is allowing that. And I get a phrase from him every day, and about 6:30 a.m. it comes through. So if you don't want to hear it at that time, make sure your buzzer or ringer's off. But and that's every day. It's every day. It's every day. The consistency is what it's all about. It's not whether or not you want to quit. You're going to want to quit. Youth Worker Nation, it's about how many times and how fast you get up. John Lee Dumas talks about that on EO Fire, Nick Unsworth on Life on Fire, Dr. John Maxwell, the list goes on and on and on and on. It is not whether or not you're going to fall. You're going to fall, and embrace it, but how quickly can you get up?
Good.
Tim, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, Doug.
All right. Youth Worker Nation, next time.